sometimes when we are under the pump and we're really under those pressure moments, we can end up making maybe, poor decisions, or where our emotions are taking over and too much. And we know farmers have said to us that's their higher risk, of having accidents and injury. What techniques have you learned, or habits have you got that help you calm yourself and keep yourself in that performing space?
Yeah, I think you're spot on. I think it is normal to feel those things. And what I try to do is I try to stick to my routine. So, for example, had some trouble when I was younger with my ankles, being a bit taller and playing basketball and the complications that come with that. And the best thing I do is I stick to my routine of standing on one foot while I brush my teeth. So I know I'm getting my rehab in to hopefully get my body in the best shape to go out and perform. And I know if I don't do that, I'm trying to fit it in and it's easy to forget about it and not create it as a habit. The other one is making a list. And this is something I've been doing over the last couple of months, and working out what is actually the biggest priority, what is the thing that starts and should be at the top, and then I start from there and work my way down. So that's critical for me and my family with what we're doing. There's no point in me trying to mow the lawns if I'm going to be back in 3 days' time. Yeah, they might be a bit longer and the place might look a bit scruffy versus packing my bag to make sure I don't forget a mouth guard or rugby boots going to a game.
And Tim, I'm always interested in kickers, in sport, rugby, who, take because you think, under pressure, those are big pressure moments, aren't they? And you look at some of the rituals or the habits, around breathing, visualising. Damien McKenzie smiles, puts himself in a positive. Do you do any similar things, or do you notice in the team environment that you learn that you would use or share in farming?
The first thing I'll get out there is I think I've kicked the ball twice in my rugby career. And one was a little grubber against South Africa, and Julian Severe almost got it and would have scored, but it just went out. So I have a wee plug there. But to talk about kickers and their routine, like how awesome to really test your routine. You obviously got to increase the pressure, and those guys, it's a pretty easy result to see if they're handling it. Are they, getting it over, or is it missing? So they've got some pretty cool routines, but everyone's different. Stephen Donald, for example, we all know how much pressure he had, but he had his couple of words, head down, follow through is what he said, and that's what he had to do. Even though he hadn't been playing rugby for a few weeks, he went back to his process and managed to get the result.
So that ability to sort of keep your mind in the present, do you think, some of those things in sport will help you? Because you're inevitably going to have those when you get back into farming, aren't you?
Pressure's there, whether you're running 10 acres, 100 acres, or 10,000. So working out how you deal with it, how you know that you're under pressure, how you know that you're under too much pressure. Sometimes it's actually just stopping, doing something else for 10 minutes and coming back. I know the challenge I'm going to have is, yes, rugby's a full-time job, but the really high pressure environment is 80 minutes of a game. But then you also get the half time to potentially stop, sort some things out and go back out there. So that's going to be my challenge when going into farming is the game potentially could go on as long as, or forever, rather than taking time to stop, address it, see what we're doing well, see what we can improve and make changes there. So that's something that I think we're going to try and do is make sure when we have an afternoon off, a day off, reassess where we're at and see how we're going, what we can do better and what we can improve. And if not, maybe have to upskill and work out how to do it.
It's a really good point, because in a sense there's natural recovery built into your competition in sport, isn't there? You have your seasons off and the high intensity, but really, in farming, you're competing every day with your business, what you're trying to produce, with the land, with the weather, with prices. And to make time, as you've said, to build in some of that recovery is, that's really good advice, isn't it?
I think there are ways to have peaks and troughs and work out how to put time in there to go, right, let's actually take a bit of time and reassess. You might say to your staff, write down all the positives and all the negatives and then eliminate it down to 3 or 4 and see where everyone is actually sitting. So there's heaps of opportunities, but it's just taking a bit of time to work out what works for you and your system. Farmers are very resilient, but you can't have it constantly at you. You need to be able to step away, take a breath, make sure you're in a good headspace, your mindset's great, then you can step back in.
Again, you've talked in the past about keeping perspective, particularly when things are not going well. And I remember you gave the example of, if the line out's not going well, just to step back from the line out and get a bit of perspective and look at from a distance.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. For us, we live in Christchurch, but we've got a farm in Hawke's Bay, and there's a lot of things to be done, a lot of fencing and infrastructure that's pretty shoddy at the moment. But it's amazing for us. We're not there every day, so every time we go up, have a look around, we can see the improvement. But if you're there on site and you haven't had a chance to get off the farm, it's really hard to see those things. So something that I've tried to do and to help the guys out that are up there is actually say, you're doing a good job. This are the reasons why, and you'll list a couple of things, rather than keeping it to yourself and they're feeling the pressure because they can't see how far they've come in 6, 12, 24 months.